I say, the frustration. We just gotta, just go out there and take it as a sudden change. Just keep going. Honestly, can't think about it, the turnovers and stuff like that.
Kind of unrelated to the final score, but early in the first half, they tagged you with a pretty, flexible roughing the passer call. What was your thoughts on that? And, what you need to go, do moving forward?
My thoughts on that, I honestly didn't think it was rough and passer, but I just got to be more smart and disciplined and know not to, drive my body all the way through. But that's it.
Moving forward for you guys, I know you're continuing to try and get into a better headspace, a better mindset. Next week's rivalry week with Western. What are you going to try to do to make sure that your defensive unit is just making sure that they're pushing forward?
We just got to keep building team chemistry and keep doing the same things we've been doing, build a wall, sit in this, track a hip, and just all come together as one. We haven't played all together not once yet. We just got to keep fighting.
How do you say that you all haven't played together once? How do you think you all reach that full potential?
It starts at practice, honestly, I'll say. But we just got to keep fighting, just keep striving for greatness, honestly.
Anybody else?
Good. Good. All right, thanks, Scott.
All right. Thank you.
in a tough ball game in a different way. For us, sloppy, turnovers early, turnovers lead to short fields, having to defend a blade of grass and didn't always do that, like as well as we wanted to. But we scored some points in this game, and it came at different times. But the reality of it is, a couple plays here, a couple plays there. You look at the third quarter, it's a close ball game. They come back, they score. We're down, and I'm looking at it and I'm saying to myself, okay, Shaquille's down. Don't know if he's gonna be back, man. But in that, we saw an opportunity to take advantage of something that we had on special teams, and they were only going to give it to us in backed up situations because every other time they were safe. But we worked on that play. I thought we had an opportunity to get it, and it doesn't go our way. We miss it by inches, and missing it by inches. That's probably been a story for us a little bit. Game of inches, and winds up being short to Diari. Otherwise, man, we feel like we're gonna take that ball because we're trying to steal a possession, go down, score, and put ourselves, right back in this ball game. So with that, after that, man, you saw the momentum, swing and change, and we didn't do a good job, of getting off the field defensively. Man, they break a couple of runs. We go back out and we wound up throwing an interception, and that interception wound up causing another short field, and we don't respond. So again, this is not what we wanted to see, but this is something that we'll all take a look at. Like, we'll take a look at the tape and see, exactly where we were. I told those guys, people want to know how come I probably took the timeouts. You got to show a team that they got to be able to fight to the end. Okay. If I'm willing to fight to the end, if we're willing to fight to the end, well then, you can see the guys who do and the guys who don't. And I think part of that is a lesson that we all have to learn. So, again, this game didn't go the way we wanted it to go. We'll take some learning lessons from this game like we got to take from others, but I still believe this group isn't far, man. We just got to make sure we take care of the ball, because tonight, way too many turnovers, and like for us, we have to get some explosive plays. I was glad to see the last one, but you got to have some explosive plays and not just methodical scores, okay, man, because explosive plays give you a chance to shift momentum really quick, and I think we do have some explosive players, but we just missed on some tonight.
Coach, that fourth quarter, was that kind of a byproduct of just so many games being so close, and then you get hit one more time with an interception, a big penalty, something in the fourth quarter? Was it just kind of a snowballing effect there in the fourth?
I thought so. I thought it was a lapse in focus. A little bit. You feel like you're climbing a mountain, and then the mountain gets slippery, right? And you slide a little bit, but you can't. You can't shortchange this. I'm not going to make any excuses, for it. I think, those guys showed that they still got some resilience in them. But you know what? Like, it's like anything else. You can't check out, okay? And I don't think they did. But I'm just saying the focus part of what you got to do, man, is still play, okay, man? Because when you do, man, you can actually, find yourself defending a blade of grass or making a play. Because there were times where things happened and we just made a play on Corey's interception. They turn the ball, or we turn the ball over. We turn around a couple plays later. Corey's running to the ball off a tip throw, and he makes a play. That strain is a 60-minute strain, for us in a ball game. So I think our guys are fighting. Again, it's just the focus piece of what we got to do and trying to play a 60-minute ball game.
Coach, West Kentucky, obviously a win over them isn't going to save your season, but can really turn your season around and get it heading back into the right direction to end the season. Yeah,
you know what? A win right now is what this team needs, and you know what? It's going to be what we, sort of, sharpen our knives and our swords like to go do. These things are in our grasp. There's controllables, from the penalties tonight to some of the other things. We just have to do a better job of putting ourselves in the games where we can take these things deep into the fourth quarter and give ourselves a chance to not only win, but finish, because that's what we're looking for, man. We're looking for the win based on how we finish.
Coach, freshman DJ Taylor obviously didn't have the best his best outing with the 2 fumbles. Outside of the obvious of holding onto the ball, what can a young guy like him learn from this early in his career?
Man, these are valuable lessons to young guys in the game, right? And we talk about ball security all the time, and he'll see it. Like the 2 times that the ball came out, it was on his hip, and that's ball security, circuit is part of a Tuesday, Wednesday like rotation. I think like anything else, I mean, we get comfortable at times playing the game. It's the lack of focus, like for him, but it's a lesson he'll learn. He's still a good player. It's just a rough night for a young guy.
And Coach, after having so many close losses back to back, having this one kind of slip away, is there any added frustration in that, or is it just kind of feel the same as the last couple losses?
Yeah, it's added discomfort, and I tell you what, as coaches, we stay up late. You're looking for the fixes. You're grinding, just trying to make sure that you can squeeze every bit out of the margins. And sometimes when it jumps outside the margins and it becomes this type of game, and you're trying to find ways to put yourself back in it, and sometimes it leads you down a risky and slippery slope. These guys, I tell you what, there's some true warriors in that locker room, and these guys just have to continue to band together. It's not what they want, man, but it's the investment piece and the angst and the discomfort and the agony, okay, that'll push everybody to get from where we are to where we want to go.
I know that Jacob Ox went down in the game later. Do you know anything about that or his evaluation? Or
I don't. I mean, I went over. I looked. I couldn't tell whether it was knee, calf, ankle, high ankle. I don't know. I'll let Bunch of the crew and our team docs take a look, and we'll go from there.
I believe it's the 4th or 5th time this year you faced a backup quarterback that might not have been a part of the scout. How much did FIU's offense change with Basansky?
You know what? They still had a little bit of zone read. I think for him, I mean, it wasn't his first time playing this year. So for him, I mean, he's got experience. So just looking at it, not knowing, I mean, we thought Keon was going to be the one, starting, and then, he shows up, but you knew that he could be a little more of an accurate passer, in terms of the situation. So it changed a little bit, but they still ran him. I thought their offense was their offense, like for us. We at times it just felt like we didn't get to the quarterback enough or fast enough to get the ball out, which allowed him to stay on track. And I look at both teams in 3rd down conversions. They were 5 of 12. We were 5 of 17. Neither one of those are really what you want. They're closer to 50% though. Too many times we found ourselves, and that's why I said that they ran their offense. I thought we found ourselves in 2nd and short, like a number of times, and that's not where you want to be, versus the backup quarterback or the starter.
You still have an injuries there at linebacker, but with the game last week with Cam Cook, this week with Owens, I think you still have to applaud the effort that defensive front is playing right now, even though the offense kind of puts them in opportune situations.
Yeah, man, those guys are playing. I mean, those guys are playing. Like I said, we had a couple of, young guys getting some reps, out there, Malik Love. And, I mean, he goes skinny instead of coming underneath, and you wind up with 2 guys outside. That's how one of the long runs then breaks out. But, young guys are going to make some mistakes. You can't keep that same group in there the whole game, and apply pressure, man. You got to rotate through to let some of these young guys, man, who practice and find themselves, in game-like situations, trying to figure out exactly how to play in this environment, because you're going to need them. All right. So I do applaud the front. I thought they played hard. Again, I thought we leaked more late than early. I thought those guys played well, for 3/4 of that ball game.
You kind of talked about how the team needs more focus for the full game to win these games. What has to change for the team to reach the level of focus that you need to win these type of conference games?
Yeah, it's a good question, right? You talk about what type of focus. I think consistent, right? I mean, there's going to be ebbs and flows. Teams are going to make plays. The big thing for us is like working hard to get back to the middle. And I think this group has done that, but not consistently together. You know, like the thing that I said during the season early, I think, you know, Coach Saban probably said it best. You know, I was looking at a clip I showed to the team. You know, when people want to understand, you know, like what you're going through, when you set standards and you have standards, you know, you have to make sure, man, that you protect the standards. Like everybody thought Coach Saban was a mean coach and sort of, you know, hard on guys. He's not. He's just upholding the standard. Why? Because chemistry comes with standard. Okay, when you uphold the standard, you have chemistry. I've said it early in the season. Okay, man. For us, it's not a talent problem. It's more of a chemistry problem. And with that being said, okay, man, your guys are just pushing against the standard. Okay, and you got to play together consistently. And as we do that, man, it gets better. I think it's been good. It's been good, and then it breaks a little bit today. You know, man, it sort of feels like, you know, you sort of step back. But when we take a look at it, we'll bring it back together, man. We'll make sure, man, that we push it right back to the middle, and we'll get started all over again to try to make sure, man, that we can finish the right way.
Anything else for Coach?
Thanks, Coach. Jakale, first health-wise, you kind of took a little hiatus there around the second, third quarter. How you feeling?
I'm feeling good. Should be back next week.
Talk about, you know, your growth in a game like this, because you've had a lot of close losses. This one got away from you. You kind of get thrown back into that game. Tell me, what do you learn about yourself in these type of ball games, and what did you learn about your team in this type of ball game?
I feel like we compete. I feel like we just got to compete to the finish. We got to finish games.
And DJ has 2 rough fumbles there, but what is someone as you as a veteran can kind of teach him in a game in a moment like that?
I told him to forget about it. I mean, it ain't nothing you can do about it. It's football at the end of the day. I mean, mistakes happen. I told him to forget about it and wash it away. He gonna make up for it though.
Jakale, you got Western next. Obviously, every guy in that locker room knows how important that game is. Even though a win over them is not going to save your season, what can it do for your season?
Push us in the right direction. I mean, a win right now is gonna help us. It's gonna give us confidence, the whole team confidence. So you just got to go out there and perform.
We're good? Anything else? All right.
Thanks,
Jakale.
Appreciate y'all.
Appreciate it.
And with our guest this week, Brett Walker, to review everything from this matchup. Brett, 56-30 loss at home. The losing streak is now extended to 6 games. It's the first time since 2011, and coincidentally, that team went 2-10 that year, and that's kind of been the record that's thrown around this season. So that one's tougher than the other ones, but I always say I'd rather lose this way than the close ones we've had of late. But I guess collectively, what's kind of your thoughts after a game like that?
I mean, yeah, I guess you could say there's more to learn from potentially a loss like this, where you're not just 1 or 2 things away from winning. I think, I know we did our post-game recap. The game was over long enough for us to have it published before we came down here to the press conference. But I mean, the theme of it was turnovers, absolutely, because first half you have DJ Taylor, who's got 2 fumbles in MTSU's own end, and then of course Nick had the interception. Like, that's 17 points of the 26 that you lost by. But even if you take those away, you still lost by 9. So I think you could learn more as you move forward from this, where it's more than just one thing keeping you from taking this win home. And hopefully they'll be able to, like Coach Mason said, get in the film room and figure some things out this week.
One thing I thought was interesting was go into Roman, talk about the Nick interception. They immediately roll into Roman, who I think collectively Nick had one of his better games that he's had this year, passing and accuracy, but other than the interception, which he totally sailed his receiver, wasn't close. And they went with Roman almost the entirety of that in fourth quarter, who at times, still looks young. But I thought that was an interesting move, and I didn't get the opportunity to really ask Mason about it. Just didn't think it flowed well with the way the press conference was going to ask about Roman. But because obviously they're going to go back to Nick next week in the 100 miles of hate.
Absolutely.
But I thought that was an interesting move. But there's just so many milestones, if you will, landmarks that are coming up with this program. They now face a situation where they go winless at home. It'd be the first time ever in the history of a full season to go winless at home. So there's a lot at stake. But really, this next one at 100 miles of hate. He said it best that they have to maintain that focus. This is a week that it doesn't sound like he's lost that locker room, that they understand what the implications come with winning the 100 miles of hate. It doesn't save his season, but it certainly looks a lot better on paper.
Yeah. And it's one of those things, too, where obviously, the season ended, you could say for most people, the season ended last week. They lost to Jack State and lost bowl eligibility, but they're going to go through the rest of this season. And I think, just talking to Mason, the mindset, he's obviously still very much involved with this group, but I think over the next couple of weeks, you're going to want to see what you have for the future. We saw that a little bit, like you said, with Roman tonight. He got a chance. I believe that's, easily his most playing time in a game in his MTSU career. So it was nice to see. That's the earliest they have went to him. Mm-hmm. And, part of that, too, because you saw early in the game, Nick was dealing with a little bit of injury, so that could have influenced pulling him a little early, too. But I think over the next couple of weeks, you're going to really start to see some people who can maybe contribute to MTSU 2026, 2027 guys. Now that the outside of Western, the stakes for this season have kind of gone out the window.
Right. Well, and I still can't put enough pressure enough that Sam Houston game, although it doesn't mean much, but to be the first time in program history to go winless at home, I mean, that does mean a lot to you. But this segment of our post-game show is sponsored by Trevor Haggard of State Farm. And when life happens, you want someone in your corner who actually knows your name. And that's where Trevor Haggard of State Farm comes in, whether it's protecting your car, your home, or your family's future. Call someone who cares. Call Trevor Haggard at State Farm today, or visit his website at trevorismyagent.com. Thanks again to Trevor Haggard of State Farm for sponsoring this. As we wrap up here, one thing, too, that I wanted to pinpoint for some positives to take away. I hate to be so doom and gloom with all this, but the defense, we said this in our week, the defense realistically is probably 5-3. And as you said, you gave up so many points because of short field position that goes against the defense. It's going to hurt that scoring average that a lot of people might look at for MTSU. But collectively, this defense probably is bowl eligible. Like let's call it what it is. And you lose that opportunity because of those short fields.
Yeah, and it reminded me a lot of obviously different caliber opponents. You got a conference opponent versus P4, but it reminded me, and I said this during the game, that it reminded me of the Duke game from last year,
right? Where
you're just fumbling the ball in your own end and you're not even giving your defense a chance to breathe. It's a hard recipe to win, and I feel like we could tell from the post-game press conference that maybe vibes weren't as down as you would think after letting 56 points up, because I think they know deep down that a lot of that was self-inflicted.
Right. Well, I appreciate Brett for joining us once again. I think to you, the listener, for tuning into our postgame, but this is not our only postgame reaction show. We're going to do another one over at basketball where they take on Webster. That tips off at 6:30 if it hasn't already. So we will be over there quickly. But thanks to you, the listener, for tuning into this episode. Thanks again to Trevor Haggard of State Farm. If you're not already following us on social media, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, at Blue Raider Pod. And if you're tuning into our live stream on YouTube, at Blue Raider Pod, make sure you hit the subscribe button so you don't miss another one of our live streams. Again, coming up 2 hours after basketball. But thanks, Brett. Thanks to you, the viewer.
Thanks for
And until
having me.
next time, go Blue.